Hi, welcome welcome back to Books and Bocadillos. My name is Mariandrea. My camera is a bit crooked because I feel like the base is a little uneven, so we'll just go with the flow. Welcome and welcome back to Books and Bocadillos. And welcome to YA'UGUST. I am super excited to be co-hosting YA'UGUST this month. YA'UGUST is a month-long reading event in which we celebrate the joy of reading YA literature. And we, Suey and I, Suey from the channel Suey's Book Banter and I, um, just talk about our joy for YA and we share what we're reading and try to have some fun YA content planned on our channels. So, um, I'm excited to share with you my YA'UGUST TBR. Now, there's another reading event that's happening this month that is hosted by my friends Angelia, Roz, and Katja, and it is Women in Translation Month. And I'm also really excited because there's two things I love about August, and that's YA literature, and it's also when we read women in translation. I love women in translation. I love books that are translated and I love reading from all around the world. So I try to read these types of books year long, but I really like that there's a dedicated month to celebrate and just to really pay attention to making sure that those books are getting read off my shelves. So for Women in Translation, I'm going to keep it probably really simple. I'm going to try to read the group read, which is The Door by Magda Sabo. And I'm also reading Stolen, which I will link somewhere here. I'm reading this book with my friend Melinda at Web of Stories and her book club, our book club. I'm a part of her online book club, so I am looking forward to reading that. It's also a translated book. Um, and then there might be other things I might pick up. I'm looking at reading some translated poetry, and I might hopefully be able to jump back into my Thursday night poetry series and share with you some translated poetry. But let's get to the fun of YA. These are all the books that are currently on my shelf. So these are reading what I own. They are what is near and accessible and won't make me spend any money on books for this event. So let's talk about what I have on my shelves. What's been Some of these books have been on my shelves for a really really long time, and I would like to get them read ASAP. So let's get to it. I'm going to start with this pile here, and this is the graphic novels. Or this one is not a graphic novel, but it's very picture heavy. So there's a lot of these kinds of spreads throughout. So it's a lot of imagery. And it is Wonderstruck by Brian Selznick. Brian Selznick is the author of The Invention of Higo Cabaret. And I am looking forward to reading this. You know, I consider this younger YA. It is a Caldecott Medal winner. Um, I'm just gonna say this is probably younger YA. It could also go middle grade, but I am looking at this as a possibility for my YA TBR. Sometimes those like young YA slash middle grade, those are kind of a blend, right? And that's why I'm like, I don't really like to categorize books because I think books are books. But this one, Nimona, I think Nimona is a banned book. And so I think I had picked it up at one point because it was on a banned book list. But this is a graphic novel and it is fantasy. And I don't I love fantasy, but I find that I'm really in a fantasy kick. I would like to read more fantasy. I think I tend to gravitate towards more of the realistic fiction in YA, and I don't have a lot of fantasy in my reading life in terms of YA reading. So Nimona is on the list of books I like to read. I've talked about this before. I love Aya by Marguerite Abu and Clement Aubrey. Aubrey. So Aya Claws Come Out is just a slim. It's part of a larger series, but I recently got this one, and I'm afraid to read it because I think it's gonna end in a cliffhanger because all of these end in cliffhangers, and you just are dying to get the next volume or the next part of the series. So I love this collection. I think it is so much fun, and the artwork is really cool and beautiful, and it's just a gorgeous book all around. Um, so that's exciting. I've also talked about this in our announcement video. I found that this might fit one of the images on the bingo um, board. So, Seven Little Sons of the Dragon, a collection of 7 stories by Ryoko Kui. So, this is a book that was recommended to me at Barnes& and Noble. I was talking to strangers, and this one person recommended this author and this whole series. What is the name of the series? There's a series by this author. I will try to put them up, but I remember I was talking to this person and they were saying, well, there's this whole series. I think you would love it. We were just talking again, talking to strangers and sharing book recs, and they recommended a whole series to me. And I saw this book and I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I'll start here. Before I jump into a really long series, I'll start with 7 short stories and see how I like the writing and see how how I do with this author. So I picked this up at a stranger's recommendation and I'm looking forward to reading it. Okay. This book was a pre-order. I love Angeline Boulley. Angeline Boulley wrote Firekeeper's Daughter, and I love that book. That is probably one of my favorite YA books of all time. And I was dying to read this second book, published by Angeline Boulley, and it's been on my shelf since it came out, and I cannot wait to read it. And it's on my list every single year, and I haven't read it yet. I might need to get the audiobook to just help me push along in getting this read. A little bit about this is Perry Firekeeper Birch has always known who she is. The laid-back twin, the troublemaker, the best fisher on Sugar Island. Her aspirations won't ever take her far from home, and she wouldn't have it any other way. But as the already striking number of missing Indigenous women continues to rise, as her family becomes embroiled in a high-profile murder investigation, and as greedy grave robbers seek to profit off what belongs to her Anishinaabe tribe, Perry begins to question everything. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And it sounds like a really great story. And I need to read this book. Okay. Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. Okorafor has been on my radar for a long time. And I found this novel at a bookstore semi recently, I think in the last year. And I thought, I was unsure of where to start. Nnedi Okorafor wrote Binti, and that's a series, and I haven't read it, but I wasn't sure. I've heard mixed things about the series, and I was not sure where to start. And then I found this book, and I thought it's a sign. I'll start with Akata Witch. It's blurbed by one of my favorite authors, like become an autobiography favorite author, Ursula K. Le Guin. So Le Guin blurbs this book and says, there's a more vivid imagination in a page of Nnedi Okorafor's work than in whole volumes of ordinary fantasy epics. One thing that I've learned about Ursula K. Le Guin is that she is such a strong supporter of fantasy across languages and origins and countries and backgrounds, and I just have so much appreciation for Ursula K. Le Guin's Rex. A little bit about this one. It says Sunny lives in Nigeria, but she was born in New York City. She looks West African, but she's an albino. She's a terrific athlete, but she is so sensitive to the sun that she can't play soccer during the day. She doesn't seem to fit in anywhere. Then she learns why. at the bottom, well, all like there's more about the story. I don't want to go too much into it. Then it says Ursula K. Le Guin and Diana Wynne Jones are Nettie Okorafor fans. As soon as you start reading Akata Witch, you will be too. This was an award winner for the ALA Best Fiction for Young Adults, an Amelia Bloomer Masterless Selection, and a Junior Library Guild selection. So it sounds very promising, and this would fit one of the bingo prompts. I'm super excited about this one. Ain't Burned All the Bright, #1 New York Times bestselling author Jason Reynolds, and artwork by Jason Griffin. And look at this beautiful artwork. It's gorgeous. This is poetry. Uh, and this is what it is. It's just really, really cool. I've read this before, but I'll read it again. It says Jason Reynolds using 3 long sentences and Jason Griffin using 300 pages of a pocket-sized moleskin have mind melded this fierce, vulnerable, brilliant, terrifying, what is wrong with humans, hope-filled, hopeful, tender, heartbreaking, heart-making manifesto on what it means not to be able to breathe and how the people and things at your fingertips are actually the oxygen you most need. And I think it's brilliant. I love it. I love it, and I haven't read it, but I think it's a brilliant concept. Okay, next. The Hunger Games. I haven't read The Hunger Games. I've watched the movie parts of the movies. I haven't gone the whole series in the movies either, but I really want to finish the series. I want to read the most recent book that came out, just a prequel to The Hunger Games and the movie that's come out, and I just need to get on with the book. Suey is telling me that I have to read the book because, of course, you can't really compare the book and the movie. You can, but she says that I need to read the book. So I have the paperback, and I hope to read it so that I can understand the world a little better. Another book that I started and haven't finished, but it's part of like Big Book Summer, and I'm also including it in YA'UGUST, is Dune by Frank Herbert. I put a pause on this because I just want to watch the movies before I continue with the book, because I think the movies are going to help me understand the world and it'll give me a different concept. There's a movie coming out. My husband even got me the graphic novel series, the omnibus of graphic novels, just so that I could maybe read both. So yeah. The Weight of Our Sky by Hannah Alcav. I love The Girl and the Ghost, and that is a middle grade book by Hannah Alcav. This is a YA, and as soon as I finished The Girl and the Ghost, I wanted to read everything Hannah Alcav has written, and I purchased this straight away. This is a little bit about what it's about. Melati Ahmad has imagined her mother's death countless times, plagued by gruesome thoughts she believes are put into her head by a jinn. Melati has developed an intricate set of tapping rituals to tame the monster within and keep her mother safe. But there are things that Melati can't protect her mother from. On the evening of May 13, 1969, racial tensions in her home city of Kuala Lumpur boil over. The Chinese and Malays are at war, and Mel and her mother become separated by a city in flames. With a 24-hour curfew in place and all lines of communication down, it will take the help of a Chinese boy named Vincent and all the courage and grit in Melati's arsenal to overcome the violence on the streets, her own prejudices, and her jinn's surging power to make it back to the one person she can't risk losing. I think Hannah Alkaf writes beautiful mother-daughter stories, and that's one of the things that I'm really excited to read about in this book. Okay. It's a couple of the prompts in the picture bingo. And then this one also, Truth, Lies, and the Questions in Between. I purchased this book last year. I didn't get to it last August, but I would like to read it. It is historical commentary. Um, it sounds like a really great book. I'll just read the flap. A president under investigation, protests across the country, women fighting for their rights. Welcome to 1973. Patty Appleton is making history as one of the Senate's first female congressional pages. She's the trailblazer with a front row seat to debates dividing the nation, especially around women's rights and roles. Pulled between old ways and new hopes, Patty finds herself torn between the expectation that she'll be an obedient daughter, aspiring to become a perfect wife, and the questions that new friends like the fiercely feminist Simone encourage her to ask. But the questions don't stop at women's equality. The Watergate scandal is intensifying, as evidence mounts that the White House engaged in crimes, smears, and cover-ups. To manipulate an election, Patty worries her dad, a fundraiser for President Nixon, could somehow be involved. Determining truth from lies becomes ever more essential for the nation's future, and for Patty's as well. Illustrated throughout with remarkable real-life images and headlines, this timely exploration of 1973, the year of Watergate hearings, the struggle over Equal Rights Amendment, and Roe v. Wade unfolds through the story of a young woman driven to question everything as she learns to think for and rely on herself. And yeah, so there's all these real life images from 1973 throughout. So it's part like story and then woven in with real headlines and images about Watergate. So that seems like a really interesting social historical commentary, and we're almost done. Then I have Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This one has been on my TBR for a while. I think I pre-ordered it. I really loved The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. And this is a prequel. This is the story of Maverick, which is Star's dad. Star is the protagonist in The Hate You Give. And so we get a little bit of backstory on her dad, Maverick, as he is a teenager growing up. And just to give you a little bit of what it's about. If there's one thing 17-year-old Maverick Carter knows, it's that a real man takes care of his family. As the son of a former gang legend, Mav does the only way he knows how, dealing for the King Lords. With this money, he can help his mom, who works 2 jobs while his dad's in prison. Life's not perfect, but with a fly girlfriend and a cousin who always has his back, Mav's got everything under control. So it's been on my TBR for ages. I really want to read it. And then I have this. So this is an anthology collection of banned books, banned together, Our Fight for Readers' Rights. It's really great. It's edited by Ashley Hope Bettis and illustrated by Debbie Fong. Ashley Hope Bettis is the writer of one of the banned books in here, and it was our book read last for Books and Book Ideas Book Club last year. I've been meaning to do a book review on it and thinking about how to do it justice. But it was that book that then prompted me to want to read more about book bans and what authors are doing when their books get banned. And yeah, I am interested in reading about book banning. This is a new release. Babysitter Summer by Anna Martin, and other contributors are Becky Albertalli, Co Booth, Sarah Kuhn, Peter Larangis, Gianna and Malcolm, and Emma Straub. And it's the fan edition of the Babysitters Club. So these collaborators wrote stories about the Babysitters and the Babysitters Club series. Look at the beautiful edging. And I think it'll be fun. I'm, again, categorizing this as young YA. It could also go middle grade, but I'm putting it in my young YA category. A little bit about this, the back, it says, Introducing a brand new super special written by 7 super special authors for generations of BSC fans. School is over for the summer, and most of the members of the Babysitters Club are heading out of town, which means plenty of exciting new experiences and babysitting adventures. Claudia travels to San Francisco, where she'll stay with family friends and learn more about her beloved grandmother Mimi. Christy heads with the Papadakis family to an island off Massachusetts. There, she meets another babysitter, a girl her age named Rowan, and what starts as a friendship turns into an unexpected crush. Dawn is a counselor at a drama camp, handling a bunch of unruly campers, including her own. Jessie is dragged to her mom's college reunion weekend, where she is supposed to babysit alongside a girl who is not a good babysitter, and Mallory gets to travel all the way to Ireland to meet a bunch of cousins for the first time. Meanwhile, Marianne and Stacy are home in Stony Brook. Stacy doesn't mind. There's a really cute boy in a band at the county fair who catches her eye and starts to take up all her time, which leaves Marianne feeling lonely and shy until she finds the things that truly make her happy. Written by Anna Martin and a cast of 6 BSC-loving authors, each writing a single character, Babysitter Summer is the launch of BSC Fan Edition, a new series perfect for big fans and readers who've grown up with Babysitters Club and want to return to Stony Brook to see what happens next. And I am here for it. So excited about this. And lastly, I picked this book up last year when it was published, Legendary Frybread Drive-In, Intertribal Stories, written collaboratively by Indigenous authors in YA literature, and is edited by Cynthia Latic Smith. And um, it includes stories and poems by Kua Mahoe Adams, Marcella Bell, Angeline Booley, K.A. Cobell, A.J. Eversole, Jen Ferguson, Eric Gansworth, Byron Graves, Kate Hart, Christine Hartmander, Karina Iceberg, Cheryl Isaacs, Darcy Littlebadger, David A. Robertson, Andrea L. Rogers, Cynthia Latex Smith, Brian Young. And this is what the flap says. The road to Sandy Dunes' legendary Frybread Drive-In slips through every res and alongside every urban Indian hangout. The menu offers a rotating feast, including tradish, eats, and tasty snacks. But Sandy Dunes serves more than food. It features live music, movie nights, unexpected family reunions, love long lost, and love found again. The big green and gold neon sign beckons to teens of every tribal nation, often when they need it most, including both new and acclaimed Indigenous writers, and edited by the best-selling Muskogee author Cynthia Latex Smith. This collection of interconnected stories serves up laughter, love, native pride, and the world's best fry bread. Now, I have some ebooks. I have some ebooks that I would like to read. And I'm going to kind of run through this list. I just went through my Kindle library and I'm going to tell you about some books that I have on my Kindle that I'm either in the process of reading, I haven't finished, but I might just push through and finish them in the month of August. A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the second book in the Curse Breaker series, and I'm in the book maybe about a third of the way in. I'm not gonna go into find out exactly what percentage. I'm about a third of the way in, and I think I'm gonna try to finish it in August. I'm also I also started last year for August, but didn't finish the last night of the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. I didn't get very far. This is a bit of a longer book than A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I'm not very far in. I'm probably less than 25% in, or about 25% in. I'm not sure, but I'm not very far into it, and I think I'm gonna try to just go back and try to finish it. Then here are some other ones that I am interested in. Top of my list are Perro Moscovita by Alexandra Campos Hannon, and this is a Mexican author, and it's about Alexis Ivanovic. Alexis is Russian, um, like Russian Mexican, I believe, and this is the main character. So the premise is that Alexis, goes to Moscow, returns to Moscow to visit um, a program where dogs are trained um, for space exploration. So um, Alexis is a teenager and she is thinking about the ethics of using animals for testing and experimentation. So it's an interesting premise, and it says it's recommended for animal lovers and people who love dogs, and I am interested in that whole premise, and just reading more about it. And then there's How to Order the Universe by Maria Jose Ferrara. This has been on my TBR for a long time. I've always wanted to read it with a book club, but my in real life book clubs have not picked it as a book to read, and I really want to read it. So it's on my TBR, and I hope to read it. Then I have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is kind of like a fairy tale inspired book. Um, and I see Holly Black. I'm really interested in Holly Black's literature, and I think this might be a good place to start with Holly Black. So I have The Cruel Prince. A Tempest of Tea by Hafsal Faisal. And I have this ebook and I also have it in paperback. I think I pre-ordered it and I forgot I pre-ordered the ebook, and then I saw it in the bookstore and I forgot that I had the ebook and I purchased it as well, and I really want to read A Tempest of Tea. This one has been on my ebook library for a really long time, and it's A Million Junes by Emily Henry. It's probably one of the ones that's been on my TBR the longest, so I would like to read it. And lastly, The Forest of Stolen Girls by June Her. Also on my TBR for quite a while, and would like to read it. What do you think about these books? I've kind of gone through the top ebooks a bit quickly because I'm trying to keep this video on the shorter end, but I'll put pictures up and let me know what you think. Have you heard of these? Have you read any of these? Are these books on your TBR? Let me know what you'll be reading for YA'UGUST, and can't wait to come back and talk to you more about YA literature. Hasta la próxima. Editing Mariandrea, here to say that I recorded this video and I didn't mention a video that hasn't gone out yet, but Suey and I exchanged book recs for YA'UGUST, and I filmed this reaction video to her recommendation video that she sent me, and it hasn't gone up yet. I don't want to spoil it, so I didn't talk about Suey's recommendations, but you'll hear in a different video Suey recommending me books or sending me a recommendation video for possible reads for YA, not necessarily for YA'UGUST, but I thought maybe I would incorporate some of the recs in my YA'UGUST TBR. But I'll let you watch that video and see my reaction, my initial reaction, and I'm thinking maybe of incorporating some of that, and you'll see that later.